Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel where we review anything and everything. And this is just a quick update on the mods that I was doing to the Lego Ghost Ship. Now previously you've seen in the mods video I had updated the interior and the back area, and I kind of left most of the stuff inside the front area a little, just more spacious and empty. Here, what you could see is, and I think I'm not going to pull these panels off now. It's easier to see with the panels off. I'm going to pull them off. Give me 1 second. Okay, you can see it a little bit better now. Not that this space is utilized over here, but at least you can kind of just see it better. So first off, I'm going to start with, previously, you guys know I was talking about removing the pillars here. Let me get something to point with real quick. So over here, I was talking about before about removing the pillars, and I had removed those pillars, but then I started talking about removing the overhead piece. And at the time, I was not able to do that. Later on, I decided while I was gonna make some more modifications, so let me go ahead with removing that. And it actually wasn't as hard as I thought. That overhead piece, which is a 2x3 flat piece or tile, comes over this Z pillar. So instead of coming one tile length over, it comes 2 tile lengths over, which puts it to cover up to here. I pushed it back that way by taking that same piece, rotating it to go backwards. And I could have just used a 2x2 brick and it would have been better. But I just used that same piece because I kind of want to just use the pieces that I have with it. So that way, if anyone made changes, they can make it themselves without having extra pieces. But otherwise, it would have gave me a little bit more overhead this way, which is where you see that carrying over here, an extra stud length long. But I can't really throw anything into that space anyway. I mean, you could, but that might be something down the line. It might change. But anyway, so pretty much this layout here came from the idea of me looking at images online for the way the actual interior of the ship looks like. And the way the actual interior looks like is you have, in this general area here, you have the main cockpit area or deck, if you want to call it that. I don't know if this ship of this size would be considered a bridge. That's what I'm looking for. I don't know if you would consider this size of a ship to quote unquote have a bridge, but it normally is 4 seats, and then it kind of looks almost similar to a more spacious, if you're not familiar, you could just look it up, but more spacious version of the upper cockpit area of the Razor Crest, where it's linear. Then there are just doors behind it, and instead of being where the it's a little more wider than the Razor Crest is, but generally speaking, so it would have 4 seats, 2 and 2, but being that this already has that kind of setup where the main seat for the captain is here, I just added 2 seats there rather than having 4, because you can't really fit 4 there in that same kind of capacity. But nonetheless, this whole area here, which I separated with these little black walls. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you what I originally had these on these pegs here, additional walls to separate it. So originally I had it like this with these walls here, but because I only have them on those 1-piece stud areas that you see in that whole chopper originally, just because it gives it that kind of less centered, off-centered angle. But the problem is they don't stand there that well, so that's why I removed them. But I think they visually look good, but they don't work that well, and I like it that they're in that placement. But the seats don't allow me. I would have moved them a little more this way, but these seats don't allow me to do that. So that's the reason why. And then I can have them lean more over this way, a whole stud more this way. But then it just, I don't know. I could do it that way, but I'll see. It's more stable like that. But then I feel like it kind of gets a little bit more inside the way of these guys. And this has a little more like door-like aspect to it, the way it is, centered with that black line going that way, that wall, I'm sorry. But here you could see, so the panels that used to be up here, there were these round pieces, if you remember. I took those, there's a total of four of them because two on each side. I took these, formed them together to form almost like a little table, and then put that little console piece that was over there on there. So in the cockpit, normally, like I said, you would have 2 and 2 seats, and then the two front seats, her seat and the seat next to her, would normally have some type of controls. So instead, I gave that to this guy since he already had controls on that side. I put those controls there, and obviously, this is just like the kind of passenger, seat, or what's the word I'm looking for? Navigator, or whatever the case is. A co-pilot. I'm sorry, that's what I was looking for. So here, normally inside the regular setup, you would have of the ship, you would have then a next room that would have the bunks, and that's what I have here. Now it could be separated with another wall, but there wasn't enough room to kind of really put a wall, and I thought about putting something here, like a little wall right here, but that kind of makes it a little tough for the person to sit. So obviously that's the bunk area, like how they would have an actual cannon on the ship. And then coming back here, there's a separate section, because there's 3 sections that it gets divided into, if you're familiar with it, or you can go Google what it looks like. And essentially in that back section, obviously you have like a lot of stuff. There's like a round table, like a half circle round table with that kind of chess game that they play in Star Wars. But against the far back wall of that same room, there's a sink on that side, or something that's like a sink. There's a storage container on this side, but it's more like a closet. And then there in the middle of the room, there's also like a kind of one of those kind of bench lunch tables. So those things I can't do all that, but in terms of keeping the sink, and then that kind of closet that they had over there, except obviously there's just a container. I put a little table there in the middle, and someone could sit down there and have their lunch. So I just wish I could break it off a little more, and I could, but then it kind of gets in the way of the look or the seating a little bit. I'll show you that now. So you can see here now with these kind of wall-like structures coming in it, I could make them taller, but this just so you can kind of get an idea. And if I wanted, I could curve it on that gray panel there to just make it kind of look more, rounded off. But it starts to kind of clutter things. So if you want to actually move someone over here, it makes it hard to get them over there. But like I said, somebody could sit down here. So I will take the General Syndulla. I will take Hera and put her here, just so you could see. So if she was sitting down, she could be. And obviously you could see with the walls, depending on the person and how, wide their head is, the walls can become restricting if they were taller than that. So they almost can't even be taller than that, but they could be there just for the, kind of illusion of that a structure would be there. But that's generally a layout that's more closer to the way it actually is in canon. Now, with that being said, I do like that little setup I did there for the computer. But overall, I think I'm gonna go back to the way I had it before. Now that I have a little more space here, I might change a few things, but I think I'm gonna go back to the way I had it before, because this way, even though it tries to squeeze more things into the interior, that's a little more canon to the way it's supposed to be, I do feel that it is too cluttered, and it takes away from that feel of just, the characters walking around the cabin. Now it's like very, very crunched up. So it's not a lot of space that you have to work with anyway. So when you try to get things too, TV show accurate, it really starts to clutter it up. But this is just showing you guys, if you wanted to go that route to make it more accurate to the show, whichever version of the show, obviously it should be the same in the interior, then this would be a way that you could do that. So yeah. All right, you guys, I'll catch you guys in the next video.